My girlfriend, Chloe, has a habit of giving the gifts I get for her to the campus heartthrob she's taken under her wing. This time, however, she had finally crossed a line. I had pulled an all-nighter, navigating slow websites and paying a premium to a reseller just to get my hands on 2 tickets for a band we both loved. "Ethan wants to see that show too," Chloe told me, her tone casual, as if she were asking me to pass the salt. "So just give him your ticket. Be a dear, you can go next time. Ethan's been looking forward to this concert for so long, and I don't want to disappoint him." I felt a cold knot form in my stomach. She was asking me to give up my ticket for a concert I had worked so hard to get, so she could go with him instead. I just stared at her, speechless. My silence seemed to irritate her. "Ethan's family doesn't have a lot of money," she continued, her voice taking on a lecturing tone. "He's never been to a real concert in his life. You can't imagine all the things he's missed out on. His life only started getting a little better after I began helping him out." "It's just one concert ticket, Alex. Why are you making this so difficult?" Finally finding my voice, I looked up at her and asked, "What about your ticket?" A soft, fond smile spread across Chloe's face, as if she was recalling a cherished memory. "I can't cancel mine. It's his first time going to a concert out of the country, so I have to be there to look after him. You have no idea what a handful he can be. He's this old and still can't manage flying by himself. I have to take extra care of him. Oh, and don't forget to get me and Ethan excused from evening study hall. I need to help him with his homework." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving me standing there. Chloe is my childhood sweetheart. We grew up together, and she was always my protector, never letting anyone bully me. We lived in the same gated community, and until middle school she would climb over my balcony every day just to hang out and talk. She was a constant presence, by my side from the moment we left for school until we came home, and she'd even chase away any girls who tried to get too close to me. Whenever I was stuck on homework, she'd patiently explain it to me. Even when we argued, the second I got truly upset, she would immediately back down and try to make me feel better. We spent every New Year's together, and we officially started dating our freshman year of high school. For years, my only New Year's wish was to marry Chloe. That had never changed. But ever since Ethan transferred to our school, I've lost count of how many times I've been pushed aside for his sake. Ethan is undeniably handsome. He was crowned the campus heartthrob the day he arrived. He was like a character straight out of a teen drama, a gust of wind that swept Chloe completely off her feet. He sat in the last row by the window, exuding a cool, solitary vibe like a lone pine tree. From the moment he walked into our classroom, I felt Chloe's attention drift away from me. Ethan's father was a gambling addict who had scammed money from all his friends and relatives. On his first day, a group of guys cornered Ethan in an alley. One of their mothers needed life-saving surgery, and Ethan's father had run off with the money they'd lent him. That was the day Chloe became his savior. She threatened the guys, telling them she'd beat them up every time she saw them from then on. Chloe's family is quite well off, so she started sponsoring Ethan, covering his tuition and living expenses, and even helping him with his studies. Eventually, Ethan started calling her his honorary big sister. Ethan was terrible at science, while I aced physics, chemistry, and biology, nearly getting perfect scores on every test. Without asking me, without even a word of consent, Chloe just handed all of my meticulously crafted study notes over to him. When I went to get them back, Ethan bit his lip and mumbled, "Your notes. My mom sold them for scrap." At that moment, my heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand, clenching tight. Those notebooks were my high school lifeline. 3 or 4 notebooks, hundreds of handwritten pages covering everything from complex concepts to summarized mistakes. Every stroke of the pen, every word, was a physical manifestation of my entire high school journey. I had drawn countless mind maps to organize my thoughts, filled with detailed diagrams and carefully chosen words. They weren't just paper and ink. They were the bloodshot eyes from late nights under my desk lamp, the mountain of empty pen refills in my drawer, and every single moment I battled with the complexities of science. My eyes turned red with anger, but I was still trying to figure out how to get them back. When did she sell them? Which recycling center? Call the center right now. We have to find my notes, no matter what it takes. Cornered by my questions, Ethan couldn't speak and hid behind Chloe, muttering under his breath. Fine, it's all my fault, okay? Just please stop pressuring me. They're sold. How am I supposed to find them for you? Look, if it's that big a deal, I'll use my allowance to buy you a new workbook, all right? Chloe's face went cold as she scolded me. Alex, that's enough. It's just a few pieces of scrap paper. Can you stop making such a big deal out of everything? Ethan already feels terrible. Why do you have to keep pushing him like this? I was spoiled growing up, so I tend to get heated when I feel wronged. I wanted to scream that it wasn't just scrap paper. It was all my hard work from high school, the fruits of my labor. But then I saw Chloe shielding Ethan, comforting him with such tenderness. Somehow, the fire inside me just died out, leaving nothing but cold gray ash. Maybe I knew, deep down, that my feelings didn't matter to Chloe anymore. And now she was casually asking me to give up my concert ticket to make Ethan's wish come true. In that instant, all the hurt and sadness I was feeling suddenly vanished, replaced by a strange sense of release. I finally understood. It wasn't like I absolutely needed her to go with me. I could go to the concert by myself. A few minutes later, Ethan posted on his social media feed, "Wished to my big sis Chloe that I could see the concert. And like a fairy godmother, she made tickets appear. She said she'll always find a way to get me what I want. I must be the luckiest guy in the world." Chloe liked his post immediately. My heart sank. They had already planned this, to use my tickets to go to the concert together. Not on my watch. Coincidentally, a rich kid I knew from the same social circles had been wanting to buy my tickets for a while. It was the perfect opportunity. Just as I was about to complete the sale on my phone, I caught a glimpse of the top student, Sophie, in the cafeteria, quietly sipping on the free soup provided by the school. It's no exaggeration to say she was more beautiful than some movie stars. From a distance, she had this cool, detached aura. Sophie and Ethan lived in the same low-income neighborhood. He used to follow her around like a puppy when they were younger, but she was cold as ice and never gave him the time of day, which is probably why Chloe had it out for her. It was a well-known fact that Chloe had pulled some strings to get Sophie's scholarship taken away, all because she had seen Ethan give Sophie a piece of chocolate on Valentine's Day. I knew Sophie's mom was in the ICU, and her family really needed that money. On impulse, I sat down across from her, casually plucked a piece of pickled vegetable from her plate, and took a bite. I almost gagged. "This is what you eat every day?" Sophie tightened her grip on her chopsticks, but didn't say a word. I knew what people would think, that I was just another one of Chloe's lackeys, here to bully the girl my girlfriend hated. But I did something else instead. I sold the concert tickets and, right in front of her, transferred the money to her meal card. "I topped up your card," I said. "From now on, eat something nutritious. No more of this stuff." Sophie was stunned. She lifted her beautiful eyes to look at me and asked softly, "Why?" I stood up and smiled at her. "Because I want to see what it feels like to sponsor someone too. And to make sponsoring you easier, let's exchange contact info." Back home, I deleted Chloe's contact information, one entry at a time. My phone's notes app was still crammed with a detailed list of all her likes and dislikes. The truth is, my family is much wealthier than Chloe's. Her father even relies on my dad's connections for his business. So why was I the one who was always so careful? And why was I the one who always got hurt? I couldn't understand why I'd wasted my precious study time doing things like this for her. Just then, I got a message from Sophie. Why are you being so nice to me? She must have checked her meal card and seen it wasn't a small amount of money. I scratched my head. It was a pain to have to come up with a reason to be nice to someone. After a moment's thought, I replied, "Because you're pretty and you're the top student in the school. You're a decent investment." She didn't even get mad when I called her an investment. Sophie replied instantly, "I understand. I'll be a good one. Thank you. You're the first person who's ever been this nice to me. When I start earning money, I'll pay you back double." Even without seeing her face, I could picture her dead, serious expression as she typed that. I was taken aback for a second. So this is what an emotional return on investment felt like. After all, the gifts I gave Chloe never made a splash. The next day, I'd always see Ethan with whatever I'd given her. When I confronted her about it, she'd just say she didn't like the gift that much anyway, and since Ethan needed it, it was a perfect fit for him. Thinking about it now, it was all pretty pointless. If that's how it is, I might as well spoil someone who actually appreciates it. Speaking of which, Chloe's birthday was coming up. I had already gotten her the limited edition Swiss watch she'd been dreaming of. Every time she saw it online, she'd stare at it for the longest time, the desire in her eyes impossible to hide. I had secretly bought it, planning to give it to her as a birthday present. Now, there was no point. For some reason, my thoughts drifted to Sophie. Sophie's wrist was bare. She could use a watch. The next day at school, before morning reading, Chloe grabbed my arm and dragged me to a secluded corner. She pinned me against the wall. "Alex, why did you delete me?" She smirked. "You're not actually jealous, are you? Just because I told you to give the concert tickets to Ethan? Oh, my little prince, are you really going to throw a fit over something so small? All right, stop messing around. You returned the tickets, right? I'll go to a concert with you next time, okay? Ethan's never been to one. You should try to be more understanding. He went up a dozen spots in the last exam ranking, and I promised I'd grant him one wish." I looked at her, my disappointment a heavy weight in my chest. This is their farewell tour. There won't be another one. And my ticket was for a VIP seat near the stage with a chance to interact with the band. It was incredibly hard to get and cost me a lot of money. I don't think I'm obligated to spend my money to make Ethan's wishes come true. I pushed her away and started walking toward the classroom. As I turned, I saw Ethan. He lowered his head, his eyes red. "Alex, Chloe, please don't fight because of me. I won't go to the concert, okay? Alex, don't worry about it. I've had a tough life. Chloe just feels sorry for me. I'm sure she still likes you deep down. Please don't make things hard for Chloe because of me anymore. She's already so tired. She was up late last night helping me study." Chloe sighed and affectionately patted his head. "You silly boy. Don't pretend to be strong. Haven't you always wanted to see their concert? You're just too nice. That's why you always get taken advantage of." She then turned to me, her tone growing impatient. "See? Ethan is so considerate of you, but you're always so selfish. So what if it's a farewell tour? It's not like you can't see other concerts. Ethan's not like you. He's a guy, but he's never experienced any of this. I've always felt so bad for him. Since I'm sponsoring him, I should help him make his dreams come true. That's final. Make sure you get the tickets to Ethan before school ends this afternoon." Hearing her words, a sharp pain shot through my heart. All these years, I had given so much. I could never remember my own birthday, but I had memorized all of her favorite things and laid them at her feet. And yet Chloe called me selfish. Ethan says a few words, and Chloe thinks he's being mature and strong, terrified he might feel the slightest bit wronged. But why? I clenched my fists. I can't give him the tickets, because I already sold them and put the money on Sophie's meal card. You have the right to sponsor someone, and I have the freedom to sponsor someone else, right? Chloe froze for a second. Her face turned ugly. Then she let out a cold laugh. You're only sponsoring her to make me jealous, aren't you? Alex, poor people like her are a real handful. You don't have to put yourself through that just to piss me off. For some reason, I suddenly remembered what Sophie had said yesterday. I'll pay you back. I laughed. Is there a civil war going on in your brain? This is getting interesting. If poor people are such a handful, why is it okay for you to sponsor Ethan but not for me? Besides, she's not a handful. She's very sweet. Chloe gritted her teeth. Alex, you're being completely unreasonable. Hearing that I was sponsoring Sophie, Ethan's expression flickered for a moment. He quickly came over, his eyes red and brimming with hurt. Alex, don't do something so impulsive just because you're jealous. You know it'll make Chloe angry. Chloe is just sponsoring me. There's nothing going on between us. I laughed. If there's nothing going on, then why did you ask Chloe to get my ticket from me when you knew I wanted to go with her? If there's nothing going on, why did you have Chloe take my study notes, knowing how important they were to me? If there's nothing going on, why do you go to her house every day for tutoring and always ask me to get you both excused from class, as if you're afraid I wouldn't know? If there's nothing going on, why call her your big sis Chloe so sweetly? You know she has a boyfriend, right? If you know, why don't you keep your distance? And if all of that is nothing, then why can't I top up Sophie's meal card one time? Ethan, clearly not expecting me to call out his little games so bluntly, looked instantly wounded. Chloe gritted her teeth and shielded him. Alex, you've gone too far. He calls me his sister because I agreed to it. Don't give him a hard time. And Ethan is different from you. He never said a word. I'm the one who wanted to do all this for him. Watching her defend Ethan so fiercely, I found it almost laughable. All these years, I had given so much and gotten nothing in return from Chloe. Ethan had done nothing, yet Chloe treated him like a prince. And in the end, I was the only bad guy. I suddenly felt so tired of it all. I didn't want to argue with them anymore. I just turned and walked away. For the next few days, Chloe didn't walk to school with me or say a single word. I knew this was her way of giving me the cold shoulder, a little punishment. But I wasn't thinking about her at all. I was too busy with a new project, Sophie. I privately arranged for the best doctors to treat Sophie's mother. I also pulled some strings to get back the scholarship and financial aid that Sophie deserved. Whatever Chloe gave Ethan, I would give to Sophie. Whatever Chloe didn't give Ethan, I would also give to Sophie. With me around, Chloe couldn't bully her anymore. When I saw clothes that would suit Sophie while browsing high-end boutiques, I'd buy them for her. I have to say, my taste is excellent, and Sophie's looks are flawless. When she put on those clothes, she looked as beautiful as a model from a fashion magazine. Before long, Sophie became one of the most popular girls in school. Guys even started asking her out. It gave me this proud, fatherly feeling, like watching my own daughter blossom. But she turned them all down. I teased her on purpose. They say high school romance is the best. Why don't you try dating? Her voice was still cool and detached, but her ears turned bright red. After a long pause, she managed to get out. Because I'm yours. My heart skipped a beat. I have to admit, that line really worked on me. It genuinely made me happy. Besides being a smooth talker, Sophie also helped me with my homework a lot. She was number 1 in our grade and would give me targeted tutoring based on my weak spots. With her help, my grades had been improving rapidly. I have to say, the emotional payoff from Sophie was a lot better than what I got from a certain someone else. So much so that, for the past few days, I hadn't even thought about Chloe once. Until one day after school, Chloe looked at Ethan right in front of me and said, "Remember to come to my birthday party tonight." Ethan lowered his head, blushing. "I'll definitely be there." Just then, Chloe looked at me. "Oh, right, you come too." Seeing Chloe invite me, Ethan's expression changed instantly. I packed my bag and said flatly, "I'm not going." Chloe frowned. "Why not? You've always wanted to come to my birthday party, and you've been planning my birthday gift for a long time, haven't you?" I met her gaze and said, word by word, "But I don't want to go anymore." Chloe's face darkened immediately. "Alex, stop being so childish. What on earth are you fighting with me about this time? Don't play games. I don't have time for this whole playing hard to get act." She held out her hand to me. "Come on. Whether we make up or not depends on your performance tonight." I looked at her. "I'm not playing games. I really don't want to go." Chloe's hand froze in mid-air. The next second, she scoffed, completely unfazed. "Fine. If you don't come, we're breaking up." There it was again. Every time we fought, she'd threatened to break up to force me to back down. Maybe if I just gave in like I always did, if I just ate some humble pie and placated her, Chloe would pretend today never happened. But suddenly, I felt so tired of it all. No one can keep backing down forever. Break up? Suddenly, that didn't sound so bad. I nodded. "Okay, let's break up then." The color drained from Chloe's face. The next moment she kicked a nearby chair with a loud crash that made me flinch. She sneered, "Fine. I hope you don't come crying to me like a dog begging to get back together." That night, our mutual friend Mark video called me from Chloe's birthday party. "Alex, how come you're not at Chloe's party?" he asked. "You guys are usually joined at the hip. I heard you two had a fight. You haven't made up yet." I wasn't sure how to explain. On the screen, Ethan, his face slightly flushed, was carefully presenting his gift to Chloe. "Chloe, thank you for helping me out. This is a portrait I painted for you myself. It's not very expensive, but I spent a lot of days on it." Chloe smiled as she took the gift and patted his head. "Thank you. This is the best gift I've ever received." Just then, one of Chloe's friends asked her, "So, Alex really didn't show up tonight? Chloe, did you guys actually break up?" Chloe took a sip of her drink and laughed. "Of course not. You believed that?" Her friend laughed. "Well, you should be nicer to your childhood sweetheart. Aren't you afraid your loyal puppy will actually leave?" Chloe smirked. "What's there to be afraid of? He wouldn't dare. When has he ever been truly angry with me? He just throws a little tantrum and he gets over it in a few days. The other day I saw a note on his phone about getting me a limited edition Swiss watch for my birthday. I told him not to buy me such expensive things, but he insists that anything cheaper would be an insult to me. Sometimes I just don't know what to do with him. But no matter how expensive his gifts are, they're not as charming as what Ethan gives me." Mark smiled at me. "See, she's not really mad at you. She's just a bit stubborn. Don't hold it against her. She's definitely waiting for you to apologize." "So, when are you going to go and make things right?" I was silent for a moment. Then something felt very wrong. Why should I be the one to apologize? He was taken aback. "Haven't you always been the one to apologize to her? Chloe's so proud. You don't actually expect her to make the first move, do you?" I looked at him. Me apologizing was based on the fact that I still liked her. What if I don't like her at all anymore? Mark's face changed. I looked past Mark and saw Chloe standing there. I don't know how much of our conversation she had heard. She walked away with a cold expression, and a moment later we heard a door slam from inside. Ethan rushed after her in a panic. After that, at school, she started ignoring me completely, laughing and joking with Ethan instead. During breaks, I'd often see Ethan and Chloe getting water together. Once, I even saw Chloe kneel down to tie his shoelaces. People around us started whispering. It looked like I had really lost my childhood sweetheart. To them, Ethan was the campus heartthrob, and they looked perfect together. They saw me as the rich kid with a bad temper. It was pathetic, they said, how she wouldn't even talk to me anymore. The exams were getting closer every day. I didn't have the energy to care about the gossip. I just buried my head in my review books and ignored them. In the evening, Sophie placed a packed dinner in front of me. I had found out earlier that Sophie was hesitant to use the money on her meal card, so I told her to just use the money I'd added as our shared food budget and that she'd be in charge of buying my meals from then on. Only then did Sophie start using the card. However, my portion was always full of meat and fish, while hers was just vegetables. I put a chicken leg in her bowl. She paused, then put it back in my bowl and said softly, "I don't need to eat this." I frowned. Sophie was beautiful, but her cheeks were still too thin. Chloe had made sure Ethan was well fed. Why couldn't I do the same? Feeling challenged, I put down my chopsticks. "If you don't listen, I'll get angry. From now on, your meals must have 4 dishes and a soup. 2 meat, 2 vegetable. I'll be checking every day, understand?" Thankfully, Sophie was very obedient. When I said that, she just nodded and said, "Okay," with a smile. I was in a good mood, and then something else occurred to me. "If I'm not mistaken, your birthday is coming up soon, right? This watch is for you. Consider it a birthday present." It was the limited edition Swiss watch, the one Chloe wanted but I wouldn't give her. I thought Sophie would happily accept it, but she paused. "Thank you, but I can't accept it." I was stunned, then my brow furrowed. "Why not? You don't think it's expensive enough?" Sophie tightened her grip on her chopsticks. "No, that's not it." I was getting annoyed. "Then why won't you take it? I've never had a gift refused before." Sophie looked at me, her gaze gentle but tinged with a faint sadness. I accepted. And then what? "You want to use this to provoke Chloe, don't you? I'm sorry. I know you like Chloe. She sponsors Ethan and you sponsor me. I can't help but think you're just using me to make her jealous. I'm sorry. I think I've become greedy. I don't want to be a catalyst in your relationship, and I don't want to push her away from you. Actually, I was happy when Chloe targeted me because Ethan gave me chocolate. The more she cared about him, the further she pushed you away. I know I might just be a tool to you. I know I'm not worth anything. I'm a nobody, and I shouldn't have these selfish thoughts." She bit her lip. "But I can't help it." I was stunned. That night, it took me a long time to figure it out. Was Sophie jealous? Early the next morning, I walked into the classroom to see Chloe and her friends rummaging through Sophie's backpack. Sophie's desk was a mess, her books and notes thrown all over the floor. Chloe said to Ethan, who was standing nearby, "Ethan, the necklace my dad gave me is missing. Why don't you ask your dear childhood friend to give it back?" This was it. This was the moment she would frame Sophie, turning everyone against her. Ethan did as Chloe said, cautiously approaching Sophie and holding out his hand. "Sophie, just give Chloe her necklace back." Sophie's face was cold. "I told you I don't have it. It wasn't me." Ethan bit his lip. "If you really like her necklace, I'll work hard and save up to buy you one, okay?" The class started murmuring. People who had been friendly to Sophie were now looking at her with suspicion. "Don't forget Sophie's poor," someone whispered. "That necklace is a designer brand. It costs like $1,500. That's enough to cover her living expenses for a whole year." Just then, Chloe smiled and waved her hand dismissively. "Forget it. If your friend likes the necklace so much, I'll just give it to her. Let's not make things hard for her. Her family has it tough, after all." The class started to praise her generosity. Chloe saw me come in and smiled. "See? This is the person you're sponsoring. I told you poor people are a handful, but you still wanted to sponsor her. Consider this a lesson learned. From now on, you should probably keep your distance from her." Sophie hadn't looked at the jeering crowd once, as if their whispers and taunts couldn't touch her. But the moment I walked into the classroom, she snapped her head up. The indifference in her eyes vanished, replaced by an unprecedented urgency. She took half a step forward, her voice trembling in a way she probably didn't even notice, desperately trying to make me believe her. "Alex, it wasn't me. I didn't steal it. I stepped forward, standing in front of Sophie, and said directly to Chloe, "Sophie didn't steal your necklace." Sophie froze, looking at me in disbelief. Chloe, clearly not expecting me to defend Sophie, flew into a rage. "I know you're trying to piss me off, but you can't just blindly defend a thief." I asked her, "How much was the necklace you lost?" A flash of contempt crossed Chloe's eyes. $1,500, enough for her to live on for a year. I smiled. Yesterday, for her birthday, I offered her a limited edition Swiss watch worth $75,000, and she turned it down. Do you really think she would refuse my watch just to steal your cheap necklace? In that moment, the entire classroom went silent. Ethan was stunned. Sophie seemed to have never imagined I would believe in her so staunchly. The light slowly returned to her eyes. Chloe's face turned ugly. "Alex, that watch, weren't you planning to give that to me?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Chloe, we already broke up. Why would you think I'd still be laying everything you like at your feet, just like before? Sophie is interesting, so I wanted to give her a gift. Is that a problem?" Chloe suddenly grabbed my arm. "You'd really do this to me?" I looked at her and gently pushed her hand away. "Chloe, there's nothing between us anymore. Please don't touch me." Her face instantly darkened. Her lips pressed into a thin line, her jaw tight. "Fine, Alex. Don't you regret this?" She kicked the chair next to her and stormed off. After that, she started doting on Ethan in front of me more and more. Her social media was a constant stream of updates about him. Sometimes she was skipping class to take him to Disneyland. Other times, she was giving him an expensive watch. Every photo seemed like she was deliberately showing off to someone. But I didn't have the energy to care. I was too busy trying to get on Sophie's good side. I started bringing Sophie over to my house often for one-on-one tutoring. Thanks to her help, my grades leveled up. Before the mock exams, I was studying when Mark called me, out of breath. "Alex, you have to do something about Chloe. The mock exams are tomorrow and she skipped class again to go out with Ethan. Her dad said if she keeps this up, he's cutting her off. Chloe only ever listened to you, Alex. Please go check on her." Sophie tapped my paper with her pen. "Alex, this problem is important. Don't get distracted." I said to Mark, "I'm busy. From now on, don't call me about her problems." I hung up. I really didn't want to waste any more time competing with Ethan for attention. On the day of the college entrance exams, Sophie and I were at the same test center. At the school gate, she looked at me like a mother sending off her son. "Don't be nervous. Just do your best." We walked to our separate exam halls, heading toward our own futures. The results came out. I heard from my parents that Chloe had choked and only got into a second-tier university. Her dad was furious. Ethan just barely passed the cutoff for a 4-year university. He burst into tears when he saw his score, and Chloe had to console him for a long time. The night the scores were released, our class president organized a reunion. Ethan, dressed to the nines, sat next to Chloe. The class president asked about our scores. I smiled. "We're not sure. Our scores were sealed." His face lit up, knowing what that meant. "Congratulations! You're definitely getting into Harvard or MIT." A flash of jealousy crossed Ethan's eyes. But the next second, he wrapped his arm around Chloe's and said clingily, "Chloe, let's go to the same city for college. I want to see the South." But Chloe was looking at me. "Alex, which university do you think I should apply to?" I couldn't be bothered. "Go wherever you want. What does it have to do with me?" She froze, and her face darkened again. During dinner, Sophie was constantly peeling shrimp and putting food on my plate. I put a piece of beef on her plate, too. "Don't just feed me, you eat too." Her ears turned red, and she let out a soft laugh. Chloe watched our interaction, a sour feeling brewing inside her. After dinner, Sophie and I went for a walk. Just then, Chloe chased after us. Her bangs were damp with sweat. She held out her hand to me, her tone an undeniable command. "Alex, come here." I didn't move. Her eyes swept over Sophie, a storm brewing in their depths as she demanded, "Are you with Sophie now?" My heart skipped a beat. "What's it to you?" She took a deep breath, as if resigning herself to her fate. "Alex, you win. Let's get back together." I was stunned. "What?" She looked at me. I said, "I'm willing to back down. Let's get back together. I know you came out here because you're jealous of Ethan. You broke up with me and deliberately acted all close with her just to make me jealous, to force me to make up with you. Well, you got what you wanted, Alex. I'm willing to get back together." She still had that same condescending attitude, as if I should be grateful that she was willing to grace me with an apology. But she was the one who said to break up, and now she was the one who wanted to get back together. Why should I let her control my emotions? "Chloe, I was serious about breaking up," I said word by word. "And I never once thought about getting back together with you." Chloe was dumbfounded. "Don't tell me you've actually fallen for her." I didn't answer. She looked as if she'd heard the funniest joke in the world. She pointed a finger at Sophie, her voice dripping with contempt. "Her? A scholarship kid who can barely support herself? How is she worthy of you? Alex, has she put some kind of spell on you?" I looked at her and laughed. "Whether she's worthy or not isn't up to you. At least the emotional support she gives me is a lot more than you ever did. All those gifts I gave you, you turned around and gave them all to Ethan without so much as a proper thank you. Even a dog would be loyal after being fed for so many years. But you? Chloe, do you really think the world revolves around you? That everyone will just coddle and enable you? Sorry, but I'm not a masochist. I'm not going to let someone hurt me again and again and still get back together with them. At least Sophie is way cuter and a lot more considerate than you." With that, I didn't spare Chloe another glance. I took Sophie's hand and walked away. As I led her away, after we'd gone some distance, she said softly, "Alex, you know this is going to make me spoiled." I stopped and turned to look at her. The moonlight fell on her straight nose, outlining a beautiful profile. I smiled. "Well then, I'd like to see just how spoiled you can get." Ethan deliberately chose a university in the South. It was thousands of miles away from where I was going. He knew Chloe would follow him. He even posted on his feed to show off. Heading to a university in the South with my amazing big sis Chloe, who has always taken care of me. So excited for my college life. But I couldn't care less, because I was waiting for the most important plot point to unfold. When the final exam results were announced, Sophie was, as expected, the top science scorer in the entire state. The news was everywhere, and the Hayworth family found her through all the media attention. Suddenly, the poor girl Chloe always talked about was from a family even more prominent than her own. To put it in perspective, the Hayworths were a connection even my dad couldn't reach. Because of my relationship with Sophie, the Hayworths personally arranged a meeting with my dad, and they smoothly sealed a business deal. While our families were talking, my phone died, so I started messing around on Sophie's. Suddenly, a notification popped up from an unknown number. "Sophie, it's Ethan. Congratulations on finding your birth parents. I've always cared about you, and I'd like to take you out to dinner to celebrate. Is that okay?" I smiled and showed the message to Sophie. "You've got quite a few admirers." Sophie sat up straight and said obediently, "I don't know him well. Could you reply for me?" That was exactly what I wanted. I sent Ethan a voice message. "Aren't you supposed to be going to the same university as your big sis Chloe? You have time to celebrate with Sophie?" Ethan replied pitifully, "Alex, why do you have Sophie's phone? Why are you always bullying me? Sophie is my childhood friend. I just wanted to congratulate her." What did I do wrong? I replied, bullying you. Ethan, you've really perfected this victim act. When you were blindly accusing Sophie of being a thief, did you think of her as your childhood friend then? You know exactly what you're up to. You're happily spending Chloe's money and wearing the watch she gave you, and then you turn around and send these shady messages to someone else. Who do you think is the fool here? Congratulate her? I think you heard she's a Hayworth heiress and want to find a new person to leech off of. When Chloe was skipping class for you and breaking up with me for you, why didn't you think about keeping your distance then? Now that Sophie is on top, you're setting your sights on her? Cut the innocent act. Don't dirty her message list. If you send one more message, I won't just screenshot this for Chloe. I'll post our entire chat history in the class group chat for everyone to see what you're really like. Ethan went silent. But unexpectedly, at the last minute for college applications, Chloe, in a fit of madness, applied to a university in my city. After we started college, I heard from friends that Chloe had originally promised to sponsor Ethan through university. But now, for some reason, she had changed her mind. Lately, she'd been focusing all her attention on me, frequently showing up at my dorm with gifts. Sometimes it was limited edition sneakers I liked. Other times it was tickets to my favorite concerts. She would stand outside my dorm, wearing a clean white shirt, her hair slightly messy from the wind. When she saw me, her eyes would fill with a cautious hope. Alex, I brought you all the things you like. I'll be good to you this time, I promise. Will you forgive me? But without exception, I threw every single one of those things into the trash can right in front of her. Even so, she would show up again the next week like clockwork. As for Sophie, even though she was now a Hayworth heiress, she wasn't arrogant at all. She would transfer money to me from time to time, and the gifts never stopped coming. A lot of people pursued me in college, and every time someone confessed their feelings to me, Sophie would discreetly appear. She would either interrupt them or coax me by saying, "We should focus on our studies in college. We can't get into a relationship too early." One time I couldn't resist poking her cheek and teasing her. Well, if I were dating you, would it still count as too early? Sophie froze, her mouth opening and closing without a word, but the tips of her ears turned a deep red. Seeing her like that, a sudden impulse washed over me. I leaned down and gently pressed my lips against hers. Sophie's body went rigid. The next second, she wrapped her arms around my neck and carefully deepened the kiss. I saw Chloe standing behind a tree not far away. The shoebox she was holding fell to the ground with a clatter, and the sneakers inside tumbled out. She clenched her fists, her expression shattering. I lowered my head, cupped Sophie's face, and deliberately deepened our kiss. Seeing this, Chloe turned and fled. The days that followed were like lemonade sprinkled with sugar, sweet, tart, and refreshing. No matter what we were doing, Sophie would habitually hold my hand. Sunlight would stream through the window, falling on our clasped hands, as warm as her palm. We would spend weekends exploring every little alley in the city. When the first snow of winter fell, she would tuck my hand into her coat pocket. Honestly, the time I spent with Chloe was nowhere near as happy or peaceful as the time I spent with Sophie. I didn't have to worry about when she would give me the cold shoulder next, or be afraid of her breaking up with me over something trivial. I looked forward to her messages every day. Every day, I wished for days like this to last a little longer, and then a little longer. It turns out a good relationship really does make you feel completely at ease, like a blanket that's been warmed by the sun, comforting in every fiber. Don't try to fix someone who doesn't cherish you. You should love someone who is already good on their own, and who is good only to you. A love built on mutual understanding and appreciation is the greatest happiness in the world.